Life inevitably confronts each of us with challenges that test the very foundation of our being. Whether through loss, illness, failure, or circumstances beyond our control, we all face moments that seem to strip away our certainty and expose our vulnerability. Throughout human history, spiritual teachers have attempted to illuminate a path through such darkness, offering not escape from difficulty but rather transformation through it. Among these teachers, Paramahansa Yogananda stands out for his particular clarity on what he considered the singular, essential power required to navigate life's most formidable obstacles: the power of spiritual consciousness itself, manifested through direct connection with the divine presence that permeates all existence. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, give me a like, comment below about your thought and hit subscribe button so you don't miss any video inspired by Yogananda's teaching. Thank you very much. Yogananda taught that beneath the turbulent surface of worldly circumstances lies an eternal, unchanging reality, a divine consciousness that is simultaneously transcendent and intimately personal. This wasn't merely philosophical abstraction for him, but rather the foundation of practical spiritual living. He believed that most people suffer not ultimately because of their external circumstances, but because they have lost touch with this deeper dimension of reality. The fundamental problem, according to his teaching, is that we identify exclusively with our body, mind, and ego, forgetting our true nature as spiritual beings. This forgetfulness creates fear, anxiety, and a sense of fundamental inadequacy that intensifies when we face life's toughest moments. The power that Yogananda emphasized as capable of transforming our relationship with life's difficulties is the power that emerges when consciousness reconnects with its source. This is not a power granted to us from outside, nor is it something we must develop through years of struggle. Rather, it is our birthright, the inherent capacity of the soul to recognize its unity with the divine. When we access this power, what might be called the power of spiritual awareness or enlightened consciousness, we don't necessarily eliminate our problems, but we fundamentally transform our relationship to them. This power operates on several interconnected levels. First, it brings clarity. When we touch even a glimpse of true spiritual consciousness, our perspective shifts dramatically. Problems that seemed monolithic from the limited perspective of ego suddenly appear in a vaster context. We recognize patterns, see solutions we couldn't see before, and understand that many of our perceived catastrophes are actually invitations toward growth. Yogananda taught that what the ego calls catastrophe, the soul often recognizes as opportunity. This doesn't minimize real suffering, but it does prevent us from compounding our difficulty through despair and hopelessness. Second, this power provides what we might call spiritual resilience. When consciousness touches the eternal dimension of existence, it begins to identify less exclusively with the temporary body and personality. We develop what Yogananda called soul courage, the recognition that the deepest part of us cannot be harmed by worldly circumstances. The body may grow old, relationships may end, careers may fail, but the witnessing consciousness remains untouched. This is not dissociation or escapism, but rather a profound reorientation of identity. A person anchored in this awareness can face tremendous external difficulties without being overwhelmed by them, because they understand that their true self transcends the situation. Third, this power operates through love. Yogananda taught that as we reconnect with our spiritual nature, we naturally begin to perceive the unity underlying apparent separation. We recognize that the same divine consciousness animates all beings, that the person who seems to be our enemy, the circumstance that appears to oppose us, all ultimately emerge from and return to the same divine source. This recognition doesn't make us passive or weak, but rather it opens our heart in a way that transforms how we relate to difficulty. We become capable of responding with wisdom and compassion rather than reacting from fear and anger. Many of life's toughest situations arise from or are intensified by fractured relationships and hardened hearts. When spiritual consciousness awakens, the heart naturally opens, and this opening itself becomes a tremendous power for transformation. The practice that Yogananda emphasized as central to accessing this power was meditation. Not meditation as mere relaxation or stress relief, though these can be byproducts, but meditation as a systematic method of withdrawing attention from external stimuli and the habitual thought patterns of the mind, and directing it inward toward the source of consciousness itself. Through consistent practice, the meditator begins to experience directly what philosophy only discusses theoretically: that beneath the noise of thoughts and the activity of the ego, there exists a profound peace, an infinite intelligence, and a love that doesn't depend on any external circumstance. This direct experience becomes the foundation upon which a transformed life is built. When we face our toughest situations from this meditative ground, this connection with inner peace and divine consciousness, everything changes. Not because the external situation necessarily transforms, though it often does, but because we have transformed. We face difficulty from a different level of consciousness, one that includes both the problem and the awareness that witnesses it. From this vantage point, we can see possibilities, access wisdom, and respond with creativity rather than being limited to reactive, fear-based responses. Yogananda also taught that this power operates through what he called divine will. There is a tendency to think that spiritual power means passive acceptance or that faith means doing nothing. Yogananda taught the opposite. He advocated for what he called active faith, the combination of doing everything in your power to address a situation while simultaneously trusting in a divine wisdom larger than your individual mind. This integration is particularly crucial when facing life's toughest challenges. It means working diligently on solutions while not being destroyed if the outcome differs from what you hoped. It means taking responsibility for your choices and actions while recognizing that you are not solely responsible for every outcome. This balanced approach prevents both the despair of believing nothing matters and the arrogance of believing you control everything. The spiritual consciousness that Yogananda taught about also brings freedom from the past. Many of life's toughest situations are complicated by regret, guilt, or old wounds that color our present experience. When consciousness awakens to its true nature as divine and eternal, we begin to understand that the past, while real, does not define us. Every moment offers us a fresh beginning. This is not about denying responsibility or avoiding the consequences of our actions, but rather about refusing to be imprisoned by them. We can acknowledge what happened, learn from it, and move forward without allowing it to diminish our sense of fundamental worth and possibility. Another dimension of this power is what might be called clarity of purpose. When we reconnect with spiritual consciousness, we naturally begin to align our lives with what Yogananda called our Dharma, our true purpose or role in the larger fabric of existence. When we are living according to our deeper nature and intention, we experience our challenges differently. They become part of our path rather than obstacles to our path. A musician practicing scales doesn't resent the practice as an obstacle to music. The practice is part of the music. Similarly, when we understand that life's difficulties are part of our spiritual unfolding rather than meaningless suffering, we can engage with them more creatively. Yogananda's teaching also emphasizes that this power is available to anyone, regardless of their past, their circumstances, or their apparent disadvantages. This is democratically important. Spiritual power is not the exclusive province of the wealthy, the healthy, the educated, or the privileged. A person in poverty, suffering from illness, or facing tremendous external obstacles can access this power as readily as anyone else. This is because it is not dependent on external circumstances but on the consciousness we bring to those circumstances. Throughout history, some of the greatest spiritual exemplars were precisely those who faced seemingly impossible outer conditions and demonstrated that the power of consciousness transcends all external limitation. The cultivation of this power requires commitment and practice. Yogananda taught a path that includes meditation as the primary tool, along with practices of ethical living, positive thinking, and conscious service. He taught that we cannot simply think our way to spiritual consciousness. We must practice methods that directly train the mind and consciousness toward the realization of truth. Yet he also emphasized that this is not difficult in the sense of being outside our capacity. Rather, it is the most natural thing for consciousness to remember itself. We are not trying to become spiritual, we are remembering what we already essentially are. When facing life's toughest situations, the diagnosis that changes everything, the relationship that ends despite our best efforts, the failure that seems to undermine our identity, the loss of someone we love, access to spiritual consciousness becomes not an abstract luxury but a practical necessity. From this consciousness, we find strength that doesn't depend on the situation improving. We find wisdom that sees beyond the obvious. We find love that transcends fear. We find meaning that transforms suffering into purpose. This is the power that Yogananda pointed toward consistently throughout his life and teachings. The power that emerges when the human soul awakens to its divine nature and its fundamental unity with the infinite consciousness that underlies all existence. It is not magical or supernatural in the sense of violating the laws of nature, but it is supernatural in the sense of operating from a level of reality transcendent to the material world alone. It is the power within us that can face any outer situation without being ultimately overcome by it, because it recognizes that the true self cannot be touched by circumstances. This power, resting within every human heart, is ultimately what enables us not just to survive life's toughest situations, but to grow through them, to emerge from them transformed and strengthened in our faith, our wisdom, and our capacity to love.